It's 8:30. Good morning, I'm Ian Crouch with Hunter News. Charges have been laid over a horrific domestic violence attack at Maitland where a woman was hit over the head with a hammer. A 23-year-old man will face court today charged with attempted murder after he allegedly attacked his former partner in her home in Catherine Street yesterday. The 38-year-old is in a stable condition in hospital, recovering from fractures to her skull. Hundreds of Ausgrid workers in the Hunter will know today if they still have a job. 600 full-time positions are set to go across the network, with up to 250 jobs likely to be cut in Newcastle and the Hunter as the company restructures following funding cuts. Wallsend MP Sonia Hornery says many of these workers are employed at Ausgrid's Wallsend headquarters.
That's a decision that Ausgrid has made by themselves, and I believe that that decision is not the correct decision, and I think that that will have a devastating impact not only on the community but on job losses and job opportunities here in Wallsend and the Hunter.
The state government is pressing ahead with plans for light rail in Newcastle. The Herald reports Transport Minister Andrew Constance will seek Parliament's approval to officially close the current rail line and rip up the tracks instead of waiting for a court ruling on whether the work can go ahead or not. The minister says the legislation is needed to avert a cost blowout and further delays to the project. Hunter ice manufacturers and dealers could face life in prison under tough new laws being handed down by the state government. The threshold required to charge people with either manufacturing or dealing in large quantities of the illegal drug has been changed and now comes with serious jail time if convicted. Parliamentary Secretary for the Hunter, Scott McDonald, says the laws are pretty clear-cut.
The criteria are to be called a dealer, and it used to be 1 kilogram of methamphetamine. It's now down to 500 grams. So if you're caught with 500 grams, you'll be regarded by the courts as someone, you'll be charged with manufacturing or dealing in commercial quantities. Now that can take or carry a life imprisonment term.
Meanwhile, Newcastle and Hunter multicultural community drug action teams will be receiving funding from the state government to address alcohol and drug-related harms. The funding will allow public education programs on methamphetamine or ice and fetal alcohol spectrum disorders. Newcastle CDAT's chairperson Tony Brown says the action team's main job is to develop strategies to help the community combat drugs and alcohol.
Both Newcastle CDATs are working to develop a Newcastle FASD, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder prevention strategy, and we know that FASD is the most common form of non-genetic birth defects. So if we can work with women who are pregnant or thinking of becoming pregnant, we know that can relieve a huge amount of problems in the community.
Briefly, a public meeting is set to be held next week following the discovery of toxic chemicals in the waterways around the Williamtown RAF base. And the Dungog branch of the SES is looking to boost its ranks with only 8 volunteers available to deal with severe weather events like the April superstorm.
Sport for our sponsor, Warners Bay Sports Club, Fishing Expo, September 13.
It looks like the Knights may have finally settled on a coach. It's expected Nathan Brown will officially take the position today. Meanwhile, 3 of our own has been selected for the Prime Minister's 13 train-on squad. Jake Marmo, Dane Gagai and Jake Stockwell are all on the board for the clash against Papua New Guinea in Port Moresby on the 26th. The match will be Stockwell's first since he ruptured a biceps in Newcastle's loss to Canberra in early June. And Tarek Sims won't be playing anytime soon. The forward copped an early plea for a Grade 2 shoulder charge. He'll miss the first 5 games of the 2016 season. In soccer, refs from the State League are hoping an alleged headbutt on an official by an under-18 Swansea player won't deter people from joining their ranks. The player made headlines after the incident occurred in an inter-district grand final against Bulwarra Lawn last weekend. Officials from the refereeing league say the incident was isolated and aspiring refs shouldn't be worried. That's sport. I'm Sally Spicer.
To NURFM News Time 26 to 9.